So to add a SQL Server, it's relatively straightforward. You click Add Server, type in the SQL Server name. You tell us where you want us to store the recovery points, and we just create a directory on the particular volume here, and we stuff the recovery points there. You could even spread them across different drives in case you run low on one of your repository volumes. You can split it that way. Now these volumes can be any direct attached storage, so it could be iSCSI, SATA, SAN, any type of DAS you need. It's appropriate. Okay, and that's that. So the general settings are pretty straightforward. You pick the scope of what you want to protect. By default, it's the whole machine. You can pick your SQL settings. You can tell us to truncate the logs. And in the near future, we're going to add a capability to do the automatic attach of the database. So what's going to happen is when the recovery point's created, it's going to automatically attach the databases within that recovery point to a local instance.
And that's fantastic news, because that means that you're going to tell me that this database is being backed up, and you've now brought it back online on another SQL Server instance, so I know that it's actually up and running.
Perfect. That's exactly right. We also have retention policies here, and this controls how long you keep the recovery points for on disk. So the default's 1 month, so we compress and dedupe these things, or you could be a day, a week, a year, 2 years, whatever your retention policy dictates.
So if I've got an auditor and he wants me to keep a copy of the backups on site for a quarter, I can set it up in here.
You would just set it up to be 3 months, and then you could keep it for the quarter, and it'll maintain that window for you. So any point in time, you'll have a quarter's worth of history.
That's fantastic.
Okay, and then also if you decide you want to run other backup agents within your infrastructure, we completely integrate with them as well. So you can just set a window here, and we can coordinate with third parties. Okay, so that's that. You click Add, and what happens is we go out and enumerate the volumes on the SQL Server itself. And from this point on, you're going to get an image of the entire server. And as you notice, you have the C drive here and the data volumes here that contain. It's an image of the whole machine.
Yep.
Okay. And these guys are compressed, deduped, and they're there for your use. So when you need to recover, what happens is we create a list of recovery points. So every 15 minutes, you're going to have a recovery point of that server.
That's fantastic. And it tells you how much it consumed for each point, or is that?
Yeah, it actually, since they're incrementals forever, it tells you we only track the incremental changes, so they're maintained on the right. So to your question, what happens initially is we create a base image. And the base image is of the whole machine. We compress and dedupe that and store it, and then from that point on, we just track the incremental changes over time.
That's fantastic.
Right. So the beauty of this is you can go back in time now and access your databases as they were at a particular point in time. So in this example here, you can actually take these recovery points now and do lots of cool things with them. So I'll just show you a quick example of how you can restore. So if you want to restore to bare metal, say hypothetically you lose your Exchange server, you would just boot the Exchange server with our replay recovery console. It's an ISO file. You boot it up. It presents an IP address. You enter that IP address here, and we'll rewind that machine exactly how it was at that point in time.
So all you need to do is just have this CD.
That's it.
And does each server have a unique CD, or is it just one CD?
It's one CD for the whole environment. And then the other cool thing is if you're restoring to dissimilar hardware, say you have a Dell and you want to upgrade it to an HP, for example, then we have capabilities of during the rollback to support that.
That's fantastic.
Right. Also, if you want to roll back volumes, it's very cool. So say I have in this case, I have a data volume and a log volume for my SQL instance, and say I lost my disk, I lost a controller. What do I do? So I put my new disk back in. How do I recover? So with this, you just click here, you click Start, and what happens is we have a cool Replay Live feature. So what it does, it initiates the rollback process. It takes about 3 minutes, and it starts the rollback. And then once the rollback's initiated, the data is actually live to the SQL server on the original server. So we're rolling back the data underneath it while it's present. So you have dial tone. It's huge. So
that means that in theory, I could actually allow people to log on to that database at that particular point in time and start querying that database.
Yep, right online. And you could even do it to an alternate server if you want.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's that piece. One other thing that's very usable here, useful, is the mount capability. So you can take any point in time here and mount it as a Windows mount point. So you can actually do this to mine a database if you want. So you can go back to any point in time and just mount it locally, so you don't have to copy large volumes of data anywhere. You just mount it in place. You can even share it for your colleagues if you need to. And once this thing is mounted, you have complete access to that file system for the whole server as it was at that point in time. So I can actually go to this. This is an example. So I just mounted this thing here. This is my F drive as it was at 4:39 today, and here's all my logs, for example. There it is. So I can just copy these files off. I can back them up to tape. I can mount them in line. I can attach a SQL instance to this, see if it works.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so
in theory, if I needed to do a recovery of just a single table, I could actually mount the volume when I know that that table existed in that backup image. And if I had SQL Server on here, I'd be able to attach that mounted database, and I'd be able to copy that table.
Exactly. That's how simple it is.
Do you know how long does it take to say mount?
You just saw the instance here. Since these things are virtual, literally just a minute or so, and it's available.
It doesn't matter how big it is?
It doesn't matter how big it is.
So I could have a terabyte of data, and it'd only take a matter of minutes.
That's right, to mount. And you have complete access to it.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's a cool capability. Additionally, you have the ability to create virtual standbys. Let me show you this, both virtual and physical standbys. So the concept is to be able to cost-effectively create a standby environment of your SQL environment, your physical box or your virtual box. It doesn't matter. So you can quickly create test labs. You can quickly create failover, push-button failover instances. So with this capability, what we do is you can actually turn this on and say, okay, every 30 minutes, I'm going to update my VM. So I'm going to create one. I can attach it either to, I can create a workstation 6 format VM or ESX server. I can dump it directly there if I want. And I can just dump the clone of this server now as a VM, like on a network share, for example. And what happens is we'll create the virtual machine for you. That's an exact clone of the production SQL server. And then every 30 minutes in this example, I'll update the blocks within it.
So realistically, this is like log shipping, but without the cost of the hardware associated with log shipping.
Yeah.
I'm actually log shipping, but instead of log shipping at the data level, I'm log shipping at the server level to a virtual server, which I can flick on at any point in time with a flick of a switch.
That's right. That's a great way of saying it. That's exactly true. And I have the whole instance of that server, patches, updates, everything's in there. I just boot her on up.
That's fantastic, because that means that one of the biggest problems that you have with log shipping is that people forget to do a backup of master, or any changes that they do to user logins don't get transferred across to the log shipped secondary server. So all of a sudden this is taking away all of the pitfalls of log shipping, because I'm actually log shipping the whole server.
Right, that's very cool. I mean, if you look at this, it's really redefining the best practices of protecting SQL servers now with this approach, because we have the whole machine.
It really is. It's really good news.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of SQL DBAs would be excited to be actually using a product like this, because it's going to give them that next level of protection.
Yep.
And I think that that's what people really require in this day and age. I think that we've outlived the backup and recovery strategies that we were using for the last 10 years. I think it's time for a new paradigm.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, and that was kind of the thesis of the evolution of the product, was kind of to redefine how companies protect their mission-critical applications.
Right.
Okay, so that's a quick demo of the product. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to visit our website, www.aperture.com, and you can download a free trial. And we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.